So, before we start, a little context. Last night, me and my friend were looking in Nightcore comment sections because, for some reason, they're completely filled with Nazis.
I am not a baby anymore. I am not as innocent as.
Anyway, we got into like this mood and we were looking for all these neo-Nazi channels. So I searched up the Great Awakening, which is a term they use to describe that apparently people are noticing that Jews did everything bad and the Jews have so much more wealth compared to the rest of us. It's just bullshit. And I'm going to do a video on that stuff tomorrow, maybe, or, you know, sometime soon. But anyway, we were looking for Nazi videos to make fun of when we came across this video called The Great Awakening is Now Over. Now Comes the Split, with a lightning emoji, which is another Nazi dog whistle because of the SS. So it clicked on it, expecting a video about how, everything bad, Jews' fault, Nazi bullshit, whatever. But instead, we got this.
Hello, Maras, as we say in the northeast of England. How are you diddling? Today I'm going to talk about why it is that the emissaries have stopped talking about the Great Awakening and just talk all the time about the split. What's that all about?
So this guy seems to believe that he is being spoken to by emissaries of God, and very often, because he uploads almost every other day, and the emissaries of God tell him about the Great Awakening and the split. And apparently the Great Awakening is going on right now, and it's people realizing all sorts of these crazy conspiracy theories. And the split is everybody who believes in the Great Awakening is going to heaven, and everybody who doesn't is going to hell, effectively. So, we're just going to play some clips, and he's a little ridiculous.
And so the bottom line is, the Great Awakening's done. Now, there are lots and lots of ideas about how many of us there are. Ideas of, I think the emissaries were suggesting that there was about 30% of NPCs that just aren't going to wake up because they're not designed to wake up. And then there's about 30% of people who were awakened, with that number growing a bit, potentially hitting 40%. And then the rest of the people heading off with the NPCs. Do I feel sorry for them? Not really. No, not really, because that's been their choice. That's their path. That's their plan. They wanted that. And I probably, in truth, that we chose to go on the good side, and I'm bloody hoping I did choose to go on the good side. Yes, I did. Of course I did. But maybe we were the weaker ones. Maybe we were the ones who said, no, I really don't think I could face that. Thank you very much. I know it will make me into a better soul, but I'd rather not. I'd rather have a little bit of nice, please, if you don't mind, toward the back end of my life, a little bit of nice. So maybe, it's like that old idea of the baddies are the ones who've made the largest sacrifice in terms of the journey that they have to make. Maybe the people who have to go off to the fiery bowels of Gehenna. However, that said, I'm still not going down there. Even if it made me into a better person, I'm not going. I'm going to the right, to the path, and I see them beautifully now. It's very clear when I talk about it. It's always over here. To the right, I'm going to on the right-hand path so that I can be on the right-hand side of God to do the right thing. You see, the right, not left, not left. Hence the fact that at the moment, the political right tends to be the goodies and the political left tends to be the baddies. Have you noticed that? Right and left. You've got to get it right in your head. I don't think any of that is by accident. I don't think any of these words that are being given to us as and the meaning that they have, I don't think it's by accident at all. Left-hand path for the other buggers, for the brave souls. And so let's see what the emissaries continue to talk about, because now we're on to stage 3, really, stage 3, beyond the split. So let me tell you what happened. So I went out the other day for a run. it was a beautiful blue sky. Blue, perfect, untouched by you-know-who. And I felt like the dog's doings. And I was running, and I started to run up the road, and lo and behold, this started in the sky. And by the time I got to the place where I would talk to the emissaries, this guy looked like a plate of spaghetti. But not an attractive one, not a tasty plate of spaghetti, and with no tomato on. And as you might imagine, I was vexed. I was vexed. In fact, because I used to get really angry. I mean, it was destroying my happiness. Now it doesn't. But I get vexed, and I was talking to the men in the aeroplanes, going, "You little tinkers," words to that effect, as you can imagine. "You little tinkers, you should know better." But they don't. They don't know any better. So I was kind of, as I started to talk to the emissaries, I was a bit like grumpy, and I said, "When is this going to stop?" And in their inimitable fashion, they said, "It's going to stop when it stops." Fair enough. But does that mean we're two different people? Does that mean we're going to be conscious of the two timelines? Or energetic streams? They're not timelines. Are we going to be, is it going to be like a schizophrenia we're going to have, where we're going to be thinking, "Oh, I'm on this timeline, on this one"? They said everything depends on where your focus is. And this is what I thought was the most interesting out of what they said. They said, if your main focus is on the negative, if that's what you're looking at, they said that then that's the timeline that you're going to perceive, or the energetic stream that you're going to perceive a lot more. And they said, if your focus is on the good, the beauty, the way that we're going forward, that's what you're going to see a lot more. And obviously that makes sense, because, what we believe is what we see. Schizophrenia is obvious, isn't it? And it's been obvious to me for yonks that it ain't worth staring at the horribleness. There's so much horribleness here, that we're kind of separating from. Okay, and when you think about the talking, everybody talks about ascension and moving from 3D to 5D and all of that. That's basically what the emissaries are talking about. Is that we change our focus, we look for what it is that we want, and we split and we ascend. And it's a natural process. And how many times have we heard, "Oh, he's really stuck in 3D. Get yourself out of 3D. Don't be dragging your heels in 3D. We live in 3D. I don't hang my hat on any of these expressions like 3D, 5D, but we know what they mean, the essence of it. And so you can use them, but as long as we don't take it literally. Just as we talk about the split, don't take it literally. A stream of energetic consciousness, well, that's just another name, isn't it? They're all just names that don't really explain what it is that's going to happen. But what we know is that the most important thing for us to do is to turn away from the shite. They're working with different people. They're helping the people who've just woken up to come through quickly, through a series of slaps around the face. We don't need those slaps around the face. We know where we're going. We know what's coming. It's going to be beautiful. That's what we need to focus on. That's what we need to talk about. Except when we're with people who are in the process of waking up, and it is allowed, we are allowed to give them both barrels, which we often do, which I often do. Often I come away from that and I think, I probably put them off waking up. They probably don't want to wake up anymore. They'll probably, "I'm a bit curious, Gordon. I'm a bit curious about that. The moon landing. Tell me a little bit about that. I'm a bit curious about those lines in the sky. I'm a bit curious about all of that and the pandemic. Can you just tell me a little bit?" There is no little bit. When you get the green light to go ahead and give people, the full 20 years of being awake in like 3 or 4 minutes, you can imagine that they're, "What the actual has he just said to me?" So again, we are allowed to do it, but I think we need to use the softly, softly, the gently, gently, the tiptoe through the tulips effect with people. If only I could learn to do that instead of giving them the full wedgie of truth. Yeah, one of these days, eh? One of these days when I get further down this stream of energetic consciousness along which we are all moving. So, because I know we get excited, don't we? All revealed, oh my, and they said it's going to be really tough. And I said, well, is it going to be tough for everybody? They said yes, but for different reasons. So it's going to be tough for the people who are waking up to all of this. These people who are in this process of, I realised, I've just found out that the Twin Towers was an inside job. Yeah? And they go, just found that out. Therefore, I'm going to start looking at other stuff. And what? You get the download Telegram on the phone and that's it. They're like that for about 6 months. The awakening process on speed, yeah, on amphetamine.
I'm gonna call it there. Yeah, I can't really do proper justice to this guy's videos. Most of the time, he's just yapping about like literally nothing. So I hope I got the most amusing parts. If you want to check him out, then go check him out. If not, I completely understand. There's effectively all of his videos are 10 minutes long, and then in the last minute, he'll normally break out some crazy conspiracy theory. So if you want to skip out to around 8 minutes, then you'll probably have a lot more fun. All right. See you next time. Adios.